The one I brought along is called Dear Timothy, Letters on Pastoral Ministry. It's an edited book, so it's a collection of letters, sort of fictional letters. So they're experienced pastors, guys like Tom Askell and Mark Dever and people like this, writing to Timothy, the pastoral graduate, or the young pastor in his first ministry, telling him the things that they think he should really concentrate on, the vital aspects of pastoral ministry.
Right.
And it's written in warm, language as an older man writing to a younger, urging him on, wanting him to succeed.
Right.
Pointing out these important aspects. So I've found it very helpful as I've worked through it.
Good.
So why don't you tell me, in some pastors and teachers, what are some things that stood out to you that you found to be particularly helpful?
I think one of the interesting things is the description of Calvin's Geneva.
Okay.
And the pastoral. We read a lot about the theological conflicts, historical description of some of those things, but what we see here is a little bit of a description of how the pastoral care of the Genevan churches took place, and that's interesting.
So how did Calvin address pastoral care?
Well, it was we talk about team ministries or multi-staff ministries, but Geneva took it to a wild degree, I suppose. They had a company of pastors who rotated among different churches, preaching and dealing with the pastoral, a parish model,
right.
Going around and dealing with the pastoral issues that might arise and meeting together to confer and discuss.
And so this was all at one church?
Yes, it was a citywide church with a large number of pastors who would preach in the various pulpits.
Okay.
So that I've found to be an interesting work. There's been another work also done called A Company of Pastors in Calvin's Geneva, something along those lines. It was a doctoral thesis. It's been published, which develops that even further, which is helpful. I can't remember the author of it. But you get a small glimpse of that. If you want to follow it up, you can get the other one. But Dr. Ferguson gives you a glimpse into that here. And, of course, the Puritan exposition of the responsibilities of the pastor, emphasizing the pastor as a theologian and the necessity of being theologically competent as a pastor. It's not we sometimes as pastors look up to the theologians in the seminaries and hold them in awe and as a higher calling almost. And what I find encouraging about this book is that we're all called to be theologians. And it's especially important in the pastorate because you're the ones who are bringing the word to God's people.
Yeah, I like that. So when you say all, you mean all Christians are called to be theologians.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's just an elevation as in the pastor's role,
Yeah, John Gerstner had a book, Every Man is a Theologian. Booklet, really. We all are. Theology is really just the study of God. And as Christians, we are all called to study God's word and know who God is. But as pastors, we have a special responsibility to accurately present that to God's people, to teach them the character, the person, the work of God.